and I am here to talk to you about parenting in the digital age, navigating the first generation of digital age kids. We are the first group of parents to ever have to do this. So, this is a brand new thing that we don't know. And we need to talk about what that looks like and how we can help our kids and help ourselves going forward. So, first, I'm going to start off with a little bit of my own background and a little bit about my family. So, I am a mom. We have 5 kids total, four, well, three that are still home. One's headed to college, one's already out. So, they range in age from 11 all the way up to 23. And so, we've gone through a lot of different things with the kids in terms of digital parenting and all the things that happen with a digital family. So I do come from experience. My older kids remember what it's like to have a childhood without a phone. My younger kids don't necessarily remember that their whole life they've had a phone or computer or gaming system or something like that. And so that's where we're coming from. We are parenting through this as well, and I'm going to give you some of our background, sorry, about our different parenting experience, and then I'll also tell you what we've done and what we're doing to try to help our kids. My background, health wise, is that I actually did go through a very serious health crisis in 2017. I was diagnosed with stage 1 cancer, and so I went through a huge awakening. I changed everything about my health, everything that I put on my body, in my body, all the food we ate, all the cooking utensils, all the body products, all the cleaning products, everything changed. And so I've spent a long time now since 2017 learning and more and more about what we can do to get that digital sorry that toxic load off of our bodies and out of our lives. And so this is a lot of what we're going to talk about today. What happens to your brain, what's going on with your brain with the digital devices that we have, and then also how to heal that and recover and live a wellness life. So, what we've got going on here is it's screen time addiction. I mean, we just have to call it that. It is truly an addiction. What's going on in our children's brains is the same as if they were addicted to a chemical or a drug or an alcohol or anything like that. They are absolutely addicted to their screen time, and we need to figure out how to make that stop, because it's causing a lot of anxiety for our kids. It's causing them to really get extremely anxious, and it's not just because of like what's going on the screen. It's because of what is happening in their brain, because of these screens. They're ending up with shorter attention spans. They are ending up with, you know, the inability to sort of keep their brain engaged because they're so used to scrolling and clicking and things flying by and things happening so quickly that it's actually affecting their ability to learn, and it's certainly affecting their ability to pay attention. It's also slowing down their cognitive development. So their prefrontal cortex as children are not fully developed until your age 25 approximately. And that is actually becoming that date is actually starting to slow down. It's actually extending because our kids don't have that ability to their cognitive development is actually slowing down. That frontal lobe is getting I guess it's getting retarded. I guess I wouldn't say that their brains are not getting retarded, but the development is slowing down, and that is a huge concern as they go into college and go into the work world and go into having real relationships with people. It's actually called digital dementia, because in reality, the effects on their brain are coming from a place of it's actually creating situations in their brains that is like a true dementia, as if they were older people suffering from their cognition loss. And so this dementia is actually very serious. They're again they have anxiety, they have developmental issues, and they have attention issues. What is happening when they're scrolling through their phone is they're getting a dopamine hit, but they're also increasing their cortisol. Now, let's take a look a little bit at what a dopamine hit means. Dopamine itself is a neurotransmitter. It is the most commonly recognized as that sort of reward and pleasure center. It plays a crucial part in modulating a kid's focus, their motivation, their flexibility, and their emotional resilience. You may have seen that your children have trouble dealing with hard issues now, and they have trouble like engaging in real world things. I mean, we dealt with our son not wanting to do a presentation at school. We dealt with him not wanting to play a team sport. We dealt with him, you know, just pushing back so hard because he just couldn't get his brain around things. And I know it was because of what was going on in his brain. And so it's actually regulating motor control and coordination of body movement, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now, cortisol is actually the brain's alarm system. It's that fight or flight situation that creates, it controls your mood and your motivation. It also it's the alarm system. And so when you've got your cortisol coursing through your brain and your body, and what happens is as you're scrolling you get that dopamine hit of pleasure, but then you get the stressor of the cortisols that's coming as well, because you don't know what's coming next, and you're always on high alert, and it's not good for our brains. It's extremely detrimental to our brains. um, and what is happening there is our parasympathetic system, our nervous system is not being engaged. Our sympathetic nervous system is being engaged all the time. And so what that is our sympathetic nervous system is really that flash of hormones, that flood that you feel when you have a burst of adrenaline, or your blood is just pumping and you're breathing quickly and you're trying to get oxygen to your brain because you're freaking out. That sympathetic system, when it's constantly being stimulated, is extremely difficult for people to it's super hard on your body. The parasympathetic, on the other hand, is where we want to be. We want to have our body at rest. We want to have our digestion working properly. We want our breathing to be normal. We want all of our nervous system, all of the receptors in our nervous system to be calm. Parasympathetic is the state you want to be in. That's why it's super, calming to do yoga or to meditate or pray, because it's engaging that restful parasympathetic system in our body, whereas our sympathetic system is just fight or flight all the time, and it's not good on a continuous basis, especially for kids. So we've got to get that sympathetic nervous system to calm down, and we've got to engage our parasympathetic nervous system. One of the things that's happening is that this use of device and electronic games and playing on their phone, watching videos, being on social media, all that, those kinds of things, watching Netflix, it's removing our desire to move and to engage. So not only are we not, we're just sitting around, and I'm saying we because a lot of adults do this too, but specifically children, they don't want to get up and go do anything because they just want to sit and watch what's going on. And it's really hard because it's also changing the way they relate to people. So when you sit for too long, you've heard that sitting is the new smoking. Well, it truly is, and it applies to children as well. You're creating inflammation in the body and the brain, and that inflammation is what causes issues in our bodies. That's when we start to see things like disease taking hold or illness happening, our immune systems being compromised because we've got so much inflammation going on, not just in our bodies but also in our brain. Like I spoke about, the cognitive ability, that frontal lobe, all those things that are happening are creating inflammation, and that is not good for the kids. In addition, it's creating a vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D is something that the body cannot make on its own. We have to go outside, we have to be in the sun, and they usually recommend between 15 and 20 minutes a day if you can. But that's vitamin D deficiency is an extremely serious situation, that they have actually tied a lot of disease to vitamin D deficiencies. So again, we are setting ourselves and our children up to be potentially get sick. And so this is a huge issue that we've got to address. In addition, it's causing skin issues. So if your teenager is worried about their acne or worried about the skin, problems that they're having, it might be because of their device. So that extra cortisol, again, this is coursing through their bodies, that stress hormone is actually causing skin issues, and it's also disrupting their sleep. And we'll talk a little bit more about how sleep can be deprived um, a little bit later in the presentation. But sleep deprivation, when your body's in that fight or flight, it cannot calm down. You can't get your parasympathetic nervous system to engage, and it starts to affect your sleep, which is very bad, because sleep is when our brains rebuild. It's when our cells rebuild. It's when we sort of make sense of everything. Our computer download for the day is kind of sorted out during that sleep. And so if we're not sleeping properly, it's very bad. And especially during a child's brain development, they have to be able to sleep well. In addition, they're losing connections. And by that, I mean they're losing their ability to connect with humans in the world, because they're living in sort of a fantasy world, or they're living in kind of an alternative reality. They don't, again, because it's going back to that brain development that we talked about earlier, but also just they're not talking to each other. They're sitting down and having play dates where they actually play games sitting next to each other, or maybe they get on the gaming device instead of actually playing catch or going to the pool or going to the park or whatever. They're losing that ability to connect to humans, and including us. And so here's an interesting phenomenon that's going on that I heard about recently, called the double adolescence. And what is going on here is, this is so strange for us parents, because we didn't have this as children. If you were born, before whatever 2000, you don't know what this is like, but they are actually living a double adolescence. That means that in reality they have their real life, they have their real experiences, but then they also have the virtual experiences of being on Snapchat or Instagram or any of the other social media outlets. They're living this sort of fake life that is extremely hard. I mean, it's very it's creating anxiety for them, because they've got this perfect world that they're trying to create within their social media accounts, but then they've got real life that's messy, and it's not perfect, and it doesn't look like what their pictures look like. And that is actually causing a lot of angst for the kids, and it's actually sort of splitting their personality in a way. And I'm not saying that they're schizophrenic at all, but I am saying that they do have this double life almost of what is real and what is online. And so you got to really think, what is the future of education and our society? If this is what we're looking at, right? If we've got a bunch of kids whose brain development is slowed down, whose anxiety levels are off the charts, their cortisol levels are crazy, they're not sleeping, they're not developing their brain properly, and they're not being able to connect with people, what's going to happen? What is going to happen to their education? How are they going to go to college? How are they going to get a job? How are they going to function in society? We really have to start thinking about it. And I'm sorry if that sounds over dramatic, but it's true. And so, unfortunately, we are guilty of this too. It's not just our kids, right? I'm just as guilty. I have, I'm trying to get out of the habit, but I've done it. I'll sit in front of the TV at night with the phone on, and maybe my husband and I are playing a word game, or maybe I'm flicking through social media just to catch up. I think, oh, I'll just look at it for a second. And then an hour goes by, right? So we're guilty of it too. We've got to face the facts that as a family, we have to do something about it. And that's the good news. There are ways to help. And that's what we're going to talk about in the second half of this. So, the good news is we can do this. It's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of commitment on your part. And we'll talk about the exactly specific ways that you can do this. So, again, I've said before that we're the first generation of parents to deal with this. So there are ways you can choose to ignore this. You can choose to say, that's not really, who cares? Like, what harm is it? Okay, that's fine. You can ignore that. And, you can ignore the first 15 minutes of this presentation. But we really do need to think, what in the world are we going to do to detox our families from the digital age, as well as all the things that are assaulting us, in addition to everything digital? And it all kinds of goes together. So we're going to talk about that. So this is our roadmap. We're going to go through it together, and we're going to talk through the things that we can do to help. Um, recently my family and I had a family meeting. We talked about what our summer plan was, that not everybody's going to sit on the couch all summer long watching their phones, watching Netflix, flicking through social media. We're going to have a real summer. Here's what I told my kids. I said, in August, whatever the day is that their school starts, what do you want the story of your summer to be? Do you want it to be, I watched every single Family Guy or whatever? I watched the entire Office seasons or whatever. Or are you going to say, man, I learned how to play this on the guitar, or I learned how to cook this, or I went to these fun places, or I did all these things? That is the story we want to have for our kids. Is we don't want them sitting there all summer long. It's okay to sit there sometimes. This is not a presentation to tell you that I hate smartphones. I just think we need to be smarter about using the smartphones. So here's our roadmap. We are going to heal the brain, and this the good news is the brain is very pliable. It is something that can heal, and it can heal fairly quickly. So any damage that we've done is not undoable. It's more of a habit that we have to undo, but the brain itself is going to heal, and it's going to be okay. What I would suggest, and this is what we did with our kids, is ask for buy-in. And it's called the Socratic method, which is where you ask questions of the kids. Because when they sort of engage, first of all, when you ask someone a question, it does engage their frontal lobe because they have to think instead of just telling them or yelling. When you ask, how do you feel after you've been watching social media for an hour? How do you feel if you watch Netflix for 6 hours at a time? How do you feel about these things? Ask them those questions and see what they think. And then you start to talk about what you're going to do. Then you have to explain, why are we going to do these things? What are the new things that you're going to do? What's the new plan, and why? And a lot of the why is what I talked about in the first half. It's because this is hurting you. This is hurting your sleep, it's hurting your skin, it's hurting your body, it's creating inflammation, it's degrading your immune system, which is your basically making yourself, more protected against disease and illness. And so all of these things are super important, and we need to explain why we're doing this. So one of the things that we need to do is set boundaries. We need to make some rules too. We're going to have maybe, and this depends on your family. It depends on the age of your kids. It depends on the situation. It depends on how addicted they are. But maybe you can change at what hours. Okay, we're only going to watch it from 3 to 6. Or maybe it's you have to do your chores first, or you have to read a certain number of pages in your book, or you have to go outside first, or whatever it is. You have those different conditions. One thing I would absolutely recommend is turning off the Wi-Fi at night. Definitely do this. If you turn your Wi-Fi off at night, it actually stops, well, first of all, it stops them from playing games into the middle of the night, especially in the summertime, but it also helps your sleep. Just take a test, do it for a week. They will not like it because they won't get to stay up late and play. But if you turn the Wi-Fi off when you go to sleep at night, and all we do is just unplug our router. But if you turn that Wi-Fi off, it will help you sleep better because that Wi-Fi is coursing through your house. It's coursing through your body, and it's not good. And it interrupts your sleep patterns. So turn off the Wi-Fi at night. That's going to help a lot. And test it again. Just test it for a week and see if it makes a difference. If it doesn't, okay, whatever. And if you rely on Alexa to get you up in the morning, it's not going to work because your Wi-Fi has to be on for Alexa to work. Maybe you need to use your phone. Um, you can also install apps. There's an app that my son just got called Forest. He tells me that what you do is you can plant a tree, and it turns off all your apps except for texting and the phone. So you can still make phone calls, and you can still receive and and send texts, but you can't do anything else. You can't be on social media or any of the other, YouTube or anything like that. It's called Forest, and he says that after you plant a whole forest, then they in real life will actually plant a tree. I don't know anything about this. It's not an ad for Forest. I'm just telling you that's what I heard. I know there's also the major carriers usually have some ways to monitor. There's different apps that you can add to your own phone. You have to have the kids buy in on this monitoring as well, but it will tell you where they are, and can also tell you like when they're on. I also look at the logons for like Netflix, what time, what device, who's watching what. I watch those things and I confront them on it if it's something that I don't believe is correct or a time frame that I believe is way too late. We do talk about that. So I can't find that functionality in Hulu, but I did find it in Netflix. So that's there. All right, but you got to be consistent. This is super important. If you're not consistent with the way you're doing this, it's not going to work. If you try this for a week and then you fail and you tell off and you never talk about it again, it's going to fall right back in. Everybody's going to go back to the same habits because they are addicted. They truly are addicts, and so are we. So you have to be committed and be consistent. Be prepared to try really hard for this, and you can set the example. Like I was saying before, and I'm not the perfect example in any way, but I do try to put my phone on the charger. Like when we're watching TV at night, I just put my phone away so it can charge, or I put it in my purse or whatever. Now we try not to have phones at the dinner table anymore, or anytime we sit down to eat. Our phones are away. We're not sitting there watching something while we eat because first of all, that's not it's not healthy to do that. And then second of all, it's time for us to talk to each other, right? It's going to increase your family time. It already has. When we have changed our evening routine so much recently, where instead of all of us sitting having double screen time with the TV on and all of us watching our own thing on our own device, we sit down and we've been playing board games, or we've been taking the dog for a walk in the evening, or just taking our own walk. We're doing something, going out, doing something like that, go to a movie, whatever. But it's great because we're spending time together, and not only does that increase, the quality of your family, but it also helps them going back to the beginning. It helps them with that engagement, with learning how to live and be in the world, to talk to people, to actually use their voice, and to speak to people and look at people in the eye. It's a huge, huge thing that you're role modeling. And we, again, as parents, because we didn't grow up like this, we're the ones that have to model that for our kiddos. So you gotta keep going on that. One of the things we're going to try to do, and we've done it before at the end of last school year, and we're going to do it again this school year. We're going to we're going to do homework in a common area, which in our house means the dining room table. Everybody's going to sit at the dining room table when they do their work. Uh, I've had my daughter has often asked me to hold on to her phone while she worked on her homework, which I think is a brilliant idea. She came up with that, which is great. Again, it goes back to that buy-in thing. So I hold onto her phone for maybe an hour. Then she doesn't get sucked into group chat. She doesn't get sucked into Snapchat. She doesn't get sucked into all those other things. She's watching something on Netflix for just 10 minutes. She is doing her homework. And then she doesn't have to stay up so late because, what happens is with these guys, they stay up so late because they watched a whole, 2 or 3 episodes of something on Netflix, and then they have to do their homework. And by now it's 11 or 12 at night. That's terrible. So we're going to do homework in a common area. That's really important. Other thing, get outside. And I'm not saying like you have to be a major workout person, but just go outside, get some sunshine, go to the park, take the kids, take the dog for a walk, go get on your bike. Put them on the bikes, whatever it is, get them outside so that they can get moving. And that does not mean sitting outside on the front porch step with your phone. That means going outside and doing something active like skateboarding or biking or just walking, or any of those other kinds of exercise things. And along that line, get moving, right? I mean, get on a team sport. Make sure that they're doing something. If you work out yourself, bring them along. Have them go on the run with you when you're leaving. Have them go up to the swimming pool and swim with you if it's summertime. Whatever you can do, get them moving, because that is going to also help them with inflammation. It's going to help them with brain development. It helps them continue to learn because moving helps edify and sort of make our brain make sense of everything that we learn during the day. That is extremely important. So get moving. It's going to help you to sleep better and to sleep longer. Going back to turning off the Wi-Fi at night. Also, there are a lot of essential oils you can use for diffusing or putting on the bottom of your feet, or using them to make pillow sprays to sleep better. There are supplements you can take if you are magnesium deficient. Sleeping, um, if you start to take magnesium, it can help with sleep. There's also magnesium spray you can put on your body. It's kind of it stings me, but you can use that. Melatonin is also good. Make sure your room is very dark. One thing that we've also done in our bedroom is we unplug everything. Like, I don't sleep with my phone close by. I turn it off, or I put it on silent, and I turn off the Wi-Fi, of course. But we unplug everything. There's nothing plugged in near me when I sleep, because it helps me sleep better to not have all that electronic, that EMF floating through the house. It will also help everybody sleep better if they're not on their phones right before bed. We'll talk about that in a second. So, EMF patches and grounding are two ways that you can sort of alleviate some of the effects of the wireless, and especially as we start to grow the 5G network that people are talking about. A lot of European countries have banned this. We, so far in the United States, have not banned this, but it's not good because they actually have to have a cell tower every 5 to 10 houses. Think about the EMF that we're going to be bathing in all the time because of 5G. So, EMF patches are actually small stickers that you put on your phone, laptops, monitors, desktops, whatever you have that's electronic. You can put them on your microwave, you can put them on your TV. They cut down on the positive ion waves that are coming out of the EMF. It neutralizes them because it's a negative ion, so it's neutralizing the positive and negative, and it will help you protect yourself. And we've actually tested this with an EMF monitor, with the patch on or with it off. It does make a difference. It's absolutely incredible. So we've got the patches, and you can get those on the internet. I'll try to see if I can get a link somewhere, so that you can find what I'm talking about there. Grounding is another way that's fantastic in terms of detoxing your house and your body from all of the EMF that you're getting by holding your device. One of the things, I don't know if everybody knows this, but the owner's manual of almost every single cell phone says, don't touch this. So I'm sure most of us carry it on our bodies. Our kids carry it in their pockets, or in their back pockets and their front pockets. Girls carry it in their bra, and now they're starting to see cell phone shaped tumors for girls in their breasts. And so this is a big deal. This stuff, this that has bad stuff coming off of it. And grounding and EMF patches can actually help neutralize that. So we actually have a grounding mat that we use when we're sitting at night, or when I'm working at my desk. I actually have a grounding mat on underneath my feet, or when I'm standing up or sitting down. We also have grounding sheets on our bed so that we can, again, sort of detox all night long against all of these waves that are going through us. And I've also tried to start to not touch my phone as much. So if I'm watching something, if I'm trying to check my email or whatever, I try to set my phone on the table and just touch it with my finger instead of holding it in my hand with touching it with my other hand. So there's a couple of other tips for that. Salt lamps are another way to help neutralize the negative ions. Sorry, the positive ions. Salt lamps give off negative ions. They actually will adhere to the positive ions that are in the air, and can help cleanse your house. So salt lamps are an amazing thing. We have salt lamps in our bedroom with a dimmer on. I have one in my office. We have them in our common areas. They are a very pretty glow. They're a nice night light, but then they're also cleaning the air in your house. Blue light glasses are another thing that are amazing. If you don't have the blue light filter on your phone or on your laptop, after 8 o'clock, you can set it so that at a certain time of the night, the blue light, the yellow light, sort of, or the orange or light, will sort of engage instead of the blue light, because blue light actually doesn't let you sleep, doesn't let your brain turn off. So when you're sitting in bed, and I've done this before, absolutely, scrolling through Facebook, one last look before bed, right? Those that blue light is actually waking your brain up, and it's not letting you go into the proper mode for sleeping. So you can buy blue light glasses on Amazon, super cheap. You can get them for everybody in their family if they don't have that glass. Sorry, if they don't have that filter on their phone. Reducing inflammation is the biggest thing we're trying to do here. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like. Reducing inflammation in your body is really, really important because that is, again, what causes problems in our bodies and can cause disease. It can cause pain. It can cause all kinds of things. So you've got to make sure that you're trying to reduce that inflammation as much as possible. And by doing detoxing the body, which is a lot of different things, that can be that can look like a lot of different things. But there's things like get rid of your amalgam fillings because the amalgam is actually made with mercury, which actually can poison your brain. So there's a lot of those kinds of things, but also, better nutrition, which we'll talk about in a second. Lymphatic drainage, which if you think about it, your lymph system is cleaning out everything from your body that is your dead cells. And there's nothing that pumps your lymphatic system. Whereas we have our cardiovascular system, our heart and our lungs are pumping that, and it's pumping the good blood and the old blood and the unoxygenated blood back to our hearts and lungs. um, the lymph system is extremely important, and one of the reasons why we are getting sick as a nation is because we sit too much and our lymph system is not getting drained. We don't get up and move. We sit all day long at our computers or our desks or whatever, and that lymph just sits there and it can get kind of yucky. And so we really need to drain it. What I do every morning is some lymphatic drainage stretching, which includes legs up the wall. It includes child pose. It includes mountain pose from yoga. It includes twisting so that you kind of engage those ones in your trunk, the lymph nodes in your trunk, and it just gets that thing going. Another thing that I do for lymphatic drainage is I actually put bergamot essential oil on my feet at night, along with oregano. Oregano it's very, very good for basically kind of taking care of any sort of creepy crawlies in your body. But bergamot is very good for lymphatic drainage. So I put that on my feet with some coconut oil at night. That really helps keep my body draining, I guess, for lack of a better term. Improving the immune system is an incredibly important thing. So, between the two, in reducing inflammation and improving your immune system, those are the keys to helping your body heal. We're trying to help our brain heal. We're also trying to help our body heal. We're being inundated all over the place, not just with our devices, but with the wireless that's coursing through our house all the time, the 5G that's coming. So we've got to boost our immune system, which that can look like, for example, I take beta glucan every day, which is a supplement. It's baker's yeast, basically. It's not yeast. It's not yeasty. It will never give you a yeast infection, but it's incredibly safe. It's GRAS, which is generally regarded as safe. It's as safe as water, according to the FDA, and it's an incredible immune booster, an immune enhancer, I should say. And so it just makes your immune system that much more improved. So here's what we're going to do. We got to improve the diet, which means less sugar. We got to have less carbs, which is like bread and whole grains and things like that. That those burn in your body like sugar. We need more whole foods. You need more vegetables. I guarantee everybody watching this probably needs more vegetables, or at least some supplementation of vegetables. Because, for example, when our grandparents were kids, an orange was an orange. Now, because of what's happened to our diets, you have to eat 6 oranges to get the equivalent nutrition. So we need lots of whole foods, and we need healthy fats. And I'm not trying to support one kind of diet over another, but healthy fats such as avocado, coconut oil. Never cook with olive oil. Always cook with coconut oil because it's got a higher smoke point. Any kind of good fats like that. Nuts are incredibly good, healthy fats for your body and brain. If you're going to eat meat, make sure you eat healthy meat like grass fed beef or free range chicken or things like that. Try to stay away from pork if you can, and seafood, because they're just not that clean of food. But it's really hard to sort of regulate what the cleanliness of those are. Just make sure that you get as healthy as you possibly can afford, and remember, even though it might be more expensive to eat organic and non GMO and that kind of thing, the long run of staying healthy is way cheaper. I would recommend you filter your water. I'm not a huge fan of fluoride for several reasons, but we filter our water. It tastes better. We drink more because it tastes better. Of course, I use essential oils also in my water to boost my vitamin C intake from using citrus oil. I really love lime essential oil in my water. It's amazing. It's super good for you, and then it's incredible. It just makes you drink more water because it tastes better. So those kinds of things again goes back to that lymphatic drainage, just getting the toxins out of your body. Drink filtered water though, not regular water. Supplements, unfortunately, like I said before, our American diet is sorely lacking in enough nutrients and enough whole foods. So supplements are kind of a foregone conclusion, unfortunately. I read a book once by Suzanne Summers, who is kind of a health guru and actress, and she talks about, they laugh when she goes to dinner with her friends, but they all pull out their supplements before dinner. And it is with the way it is. We can embrace it. It's okay. It's okay to use supplements. It's okay to use whole food things like Juice Plus, or in the example that I have, I really like the Lifelong Vitality vitamins from doTERRA. Those are great supplements. They're great enhancements to your diet, as well as what we just talked about with the whole foods. Diffusing essential oils are something that can really help your family as you go through this detox, as you're trying to change these habits. You're going to have some anxiety in the house. It's going to happen. And diffusing essential oils can be an incredibly good way to help with that. And so, and specifically, I want to address anxiety. So, lavender and clary sage are very high in linlu, and lemon, lime, and white fir are very high in B pinene, beta pinene. Um, Both of these things are they are let me go back for a second. But both of those substances are incredibly good for dealing with anxiety. And so lavender, is just so calming. I think everybody thinks of lavender as calming, good for sleep, that kind of thing. But it's very good. It's a very good oil, and it's proven scientifically with that linlool in it that it can actually address emotional challenges and really help with feelings of anxiousness. Lemon, lime, and white fir. Beta pinene is actually pine. I mean, you can see the word in there. Any sort of the pine, or kind of, like say spruce or white fir or Douglas fir, any of those essential oils that have that, it's because that, and this is why they talk about forest bathing in Japan, right? The air in the forest, because it has beta pinene in it, is actually good for you. It actually it boosts your immunity. It actually can make you healthier. And so those lemon and lime are citrus oils, but white fir and then any of the other sort of spruce oil kind of oils can be incredibly good. The combination of those two in a diffuser of lavender and lemon and lime, or white fir with clary sage, or any of those things, they are amazing and so good for your family. So, again, the essential oils are an incredible option. And the ones that I use specifically are very, very pure. And I feel 100% comfortable in recommending them because they are incredibly good. They're tested by third party. They are safe to use for your family. So another thing you're going to want to do is replace your body products, because a lot of our body products, especially for women, our makeup, all those things are just filled with chemicals. They're filled with toxins. They're filled with really bad stuff. There's a great website called ewg.org. And what I do is, if I ever use anything that I don't make myself, I actually sit down and I go through every single ingredient and I input it into the EWG database to find out if it's okay or not. And I literally have done this with my doTERRA products, my shampoo, my conditioner. I did that with, the face and body products. If I don't make my own, which oftentimes I do, I make my own face cream. I make my own hairspray. I make my own, uh, the lotion for my skin. I just prefer that because I know every single thing that goes in there. I can see that it's organic. I know it's doTERRA, so it's tested by a third party for purity, and I feel totally comfortable. Replacing cleaning products is also going to help reduce that toxic load on your whole family. And again, we're trying to digitally detox, but we're trying to detox our whole house, our whole life, because so much stuff is going on. We've got chemicals that people are spraying, maybe not on your own lawn, but they're spraying on common areas. They're spraying glyphosate, which there was just a huge lawsuit against glyphosate, and they found it in our food. They are finding it now in cord blood from babies. So we've got to reduce this toxic load. So replacing cleaning products, I don't use any commercial cleaning products anymore. All I use is baking soda, vinegar, and then melaleuca or tea tree oil and lime and lemon oil, and sometimes other oils just to make things smell well good. The other oil that I really love is our product called On Guard, which is a fantastic essential oil that is, they say that it's sort of the blend that the grave robbers used during the Black Plague. On Guard is an incredible oil for boosting your immune system, and it smells amazing. It smells like cinnamon and orange, and it just makes the house smell great. I diffuse that all the time, even when it's not flu season. Anyway, so the cleaning products you can use On Guard for cleaning surfaces. I use all these different kinds of products for my cleaning products. So stay tuned. Towards the end of this, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about a special offer I have for you. Um, to help you with all of this, because you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, what is going on? I don't, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm freaking out, I don't want this, I'm worried about my family. So I will absolutely help you. I'm here to help you, and I'm going to give you a special offer. um, One of the things, the big question though, is what is going to happen to this generation? Like I brought it up in the beginning, and what are we looking at here? If we have a generation of kids that can't interact, that haven't developed their brain, that have high anxiety and high cortisol levels, what's going to happen to our kids? We have to take action. We absolutely have to take action. So, with your help, you're going to save your children's future life, right? In work, in marriage, in friendships. You may possibly help prevent illness for them. I mean, this is a huge, huge deal. So don't forget, please, please take action, and I will help you. I'm here to help you. So, exclusively for people, and you've watched this far, so thank you so much. You can get a free 30-minute consultation, and I'll send you the link to get started on these natural products for your family's health and wellness. And I want to talk to you about essential oils specifically, but I can also help you with any of those other products, the EMFs, the blue light glasses, the supplements I talked about. I can tell you where I get mine. We can talk about, how to source that. And I don't, there's some of these things that I benefit from, but some of these I'll just tell you what I use, and I'll help you. I'm here to help you. So 30 minutes, take it. It's going to be so great for your family. It will be a paradigm change for your whole family. So let's do it together, and just click when you get prompted. You can click for a time slot, and let's get something on the calendar. So it's been a pleasure to talk to you. I can't wait to hear from you. I want you to email me at this message, Marijo at bellaessentialoils.com. You can go to my website, Bella Essential Oils. You can also find us on Facebook, Bella Essential Oils. It's all kinds of education. You can see two of our oil kits right there. The kid collection, which is fantastic because it's already it's already diluted for kids, because their skin is more sensitive. But we've got all kinds of stuff for, courage and immune boosting and consoling if they've been, bullied or anything like that. If they're having trouble or anxiety because you're working on their digital detox, those kinds of oils can really help them. And then on the right side, we've got all of the great supplemental products that you can buy as a kit that will help with inflammation, that will help boost your immunity, will help supplement those nutrition facts that you need. It's a great change. It's a paradigm shift for your whole family. It's important. It has huge implications, and I hope you will join me. So thanks again for listening and watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I can't wait to hear from you so that we can talk more about your family too. Thanks. Bye bye.